Hey, global Ghanaian citizens, Adrian here. Welcome back to the Sound of Accra Podcast. This is the show where we showcase global Ghanaian excellence to the world. Today on Fintech Fridays, we're going to be exploring a topic that's not just shaping Ghana, but actually reshaping the entire African continent. Now, that's fintech and mobile money. Now, did you know Africa processed over $1.4 trillion in mobile money transactions last year? That's nearly 2/3 of global total. And yes, Ghana is one of the biggest players driving that growth. So in this episode, we're going to uncover why Ghana leads West Africa's digital payments revolution, how mobile money and fintech are improving lives both at home and across the diaspora, and what the future of finance really looks like for Ghanaians and African entrepreneurs everywhere. All right. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now let's start big. All right. As you can see in front of me, the article reads out, Africa accounts for 70% of the world's $1 trillion mobile money market. That's a mind-blowing figure, all right? But within Africa, two regions dominate. That's East and West Africa. Now, East Africa, led by Kenya's iconic M-Pesa, processed over $800 billion through 61 billion transactions last year, with an average transfer of just $13. That tells you mobile money is part of everyday life, all right? Now, meanwhile, West Africa, which is our home turf, is the most competitive and innovative market. More than 76 live mobile money services operate in West Africa, and that drives over $500 billion worth of transactions. Massive, absolute colossal. Now, Ghana in particular stands out as the tech-savvy, regulation-friendly market leading this charge. If you've been listening to Sound of Accra Podcast for quite some time, you may have heard me talk about how Ghana wants to be the first African government based on the blockchain. You've heard me talk about how crypto and blockchain is sweeping the Ghanaian nation. And you've heard me talk about how the digital city is something that's in the works. And all of these fintech innovations that are coming and emerging out of Ghana. This does not surprise me at all. And this should not surprise you at all if you've been listening to this podcast for quite some time. Now, Ghana in particular is regulation-friendly market. We've talked about similar trends in one of our previous episodes on super apps in Africa. We'll leave a link in the description below if you've not checked that out. Okay. And we explored how these platforms are blending payments, e-commerce, and services into one seamless experience. This mobile money boom is the foundation powering that super app revolution. Let me tell you that. All right. Now, let's talk about Ghana. Okay. Now, Ghana is quietly becoming Africa's fintech role model. All right. If we see this article here from Mastercard, what we can see here is that Mastercard recently featured Ghana as a standout success in West African digital payments growth. And they cited strong innovation, deep telco-led ecosystems, and forward-thinking regulation from the Bank of Ghana. All right. In fact, the GSMA ranks Ghana number one globally for mobile money policy and regulatory environment. Now, that's something we're rarely able to celebrate, but it's huge, all right? Nearly 9 in 10 Ghanaians own a mobile phone, and more than half of them use mobile money every day. Pay for goods, utilities, and even school fees. It's financial inclusion in action. Let's face it, okay? Now, if you guys have been listening to this show for quite some time, you may remember our episode back in season 6, Ghana's Farms to Accra's Markets, which featured Nana Coffee and Gideon. And we discussed how farmers are now using mobile money to sell directly to urban buyers, cut out middlemen, and boost profits through digital payments. Now, that fintech transforming traditional industries right here in Ghana. All right. Now, if you read on this article, you're going to find an interesting Q&A, with Mastercard. So I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys can go ahead and read that. But what does this tell you? Ghana has proven that when you build for people, not just for profit, transformation always follows. All right. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite topics. Okay. Now, that is the Ghanaian diaspora. Yes, you've guessed it. And its role in Ghana's fintech rise. Now, if we see this article here from Tech Labari, it clearly says that Ghanaians abroad send home around $11 billion every single year. That's incredible. I can't even imagine that. But the way they're doing, it is changing. Now, more people in the UK, the US, Canada, Europe are turning to fintech platforms such as Cash, Eversend, Skrill, to send money home. Even SendWave. You can check the description below for a SendWave code if you guys want to, do some remittance. Cost you anything extra. Okay. There's no waiting, no queues, minimal fees. So these remittance platforms are huge at the moment. They're hot fire, and they all have ties to mobile money as well, which is the main thing. Now, these apps are connecting families faster and powering small business directly. So instead of waiting around, instead of wiring funds through traditional remittances offices, you can send money in seconds straight to someone's mobile wallet. All right. Now, we explored this topic further in the episode I did with Jason Agboza in Season 7, which is titled Break Free from the 9 to 5, Trading, Financial Freedom and Mindset. I'll leave that episode in the description below. So we talked briefly with Jason about how digital tools like mobile money are helping diasporans to build wealth and support families back home more efficiently. So you guys can go check the episode out. Now, this digital diasporic network isn't just transferring money. It's transferring trust, data, and opportunity. And every transaction strengthens Ghana's digital economy. And that's something that we need to think about. All right. So, what does the future of Ghana's mobile money and fintech economy look like? This is the key question here. Now, Mastercard's findings and the GSMA's insights point to 3 major focus areas. Okay. Now, that is financial and digital literacy. Ghanaians are adopting mobile money fast, but education around fraud, prevention, savings, and digital security still lags behind. You can see here from this article from Ecofin Agency, where it does say mobile money in Africa is strong growth, but adoption still falls short in some areas. All right. But Ghana, as a result, is still adopting mobile money very quickly compared to other African countries. Okay. Why is that? The second point I want to move on to is financial and digital literacy. Now, Ghanaians are adopting mobile money fast, as I mentioned, but education on fraud, savings, and digital security still lags behind. So they are knowledgeable about mobile money, but the next step that we need to take as Ghanaians is to be more knowledgeable about fraud, about savings, about digital securities, about other aspects of mobile money, so that we can move even more forward as a nation in this area. All right. Now, cross-border payments in Africa. Just imagine transferring money seamlessly between Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya using one wallet. That kind of interoperability will unlock billions more in trade and remittances. All right. So digital access for rural Ghana, things like expanding towers, improving internet reach, and lowering transaction costs will certainly make fintech growth truly inclusive in the nation. Really and truly, the next 5 years is going to define how Ghana moves from great progress to great leadership. Okay. Now, if you remember the episode I did with Cyril Quadso, who is the founder and CEO of Gold Coast Report, which is Ghana's biggest podcast network, I'll leave a link to the episode below, or it might pop up on the screen. So we discuss in this episode how important it is to understand your market deeply, and it's the key to scaling any business, including fintech. Very, very important. All right. So as you can see, Africa's story is changing, right? The world often sees us as emerging markets, but in fintech, we are leading the market right now. Okay. That's without a doubt. Now, Ghana's rise in mobile money is proof, okay, that African solutions are shaping global trends in digital payments, in financial inclusion, and in entrepreneurship as well. But from the street vendor taking Momo payments to diaspora founders building fintech apps abroad, this is the sound of modern Ghana. This is what it looks like. So, global Ghanaian citizens, if you enjoyed this episode, I'm going to link some others in the description below that you need to go and watch or listen next if you enjoyed this one. Let us know what you think of this episode. We're available on the socials. Just search for The Sound of Accra. And if you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us a comment, drop us a like, let us know what you think. And share this episode with someone who is, building something digital or would appreciate this type of information. And as always, stay curious, stay connected. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care. God bless.